Connor Newman, and this is August 2017's Helios Tarot Forecast, drawn to match and speak to your personal astrological zodiac sign. Check out my website, iamhelios.com, and investigate all that I have to offer there, personal readings, courses, etc., and subscribe if you would like to receive updates. Also follow the link below to Annie Botticelli's Storyteller forecasts and be fascinated by how astrology plays into this all so beautifully. Okay, let's get started. Alright, Pisces, here is your 5-card tarot spread for the month of August. You have a central theme, 2-dimensional timeline options, or 2 doorways at the fork in the road you're in now, your past section, and your fate section. Here in what is called your central theme, that which most suitably defines the nature of the overall arc of this tarot spread, is the Emperor. Now, the Emperor has to do with your relationship to the structure of civilization, and it almost automatically points out the difficulty that you might have, or the challenge in synergizing with such a seemingly synthetic or unnatural system, and the mechanics of which are sometimes quite chaotic and, for lack of a better word, idiotic. So it could be said that this tarot spread is speaking to motivations that might be politically derived, or it might actually have something to do with familial tensions or pressures, most exclusively parental pressures, since the Emperor does embody the forces of pressure and obligation that we're exposed to from a very early age that end up defining a lot of what we do, particularly through our experience with education or career, whether we like it or not. Whether it's in line with who we truly are and what we truly want or not. So the Emperor sort of beckons us or compels us or prompts this the question, am I doing what I truly want, or am I doing what I have been pressured to do, what I've been trained to do, or what I've been programmed to do through transgenerational imprinting? This is the time and place for those questions. Okay, so in contemplating this core question that has to do with really anything that this card might inspire you to summon from the depths of your mind, let's consider your 2-dimensional timeline options here. On the one hand, you have the 9 of Wands, which is in direct response to, and is in fact a direct continuation of, that Emperor card. The 9s in the tarot are associated with Yasod on the Tree of Life, Sphirith 9, and as manifest through fire, or wands in this case, that's actually inner strength, the self-trust, and the will to carry on with what you have been doing. Okay, so this is perhaps the experience that maybe you can imagine your father would describe as getting over it, getting on with it, doing what you need to do, stepping up, and all of that. So you have the option. You can actually do that. You're in a position right now, for whatever reason, whether it's astrological or whether it's far deeper, you're in a position to actually summon the strength to do what you need to do, to follow through with what you're currently doing, whether you like it or not. But you have to ask, is that really what you want to be doing? Do you want to be setting yourself up for increased pressure to continue because you've been doing so well? So this sort of sets you up to perhaps contemplate the paradigm in which we are compelled to consider whether or not it's worth giving up freedom for the sake of increased security. So this, again, you can see political themes here. On the other hand, you have very different energy, an entirely different set of options. The 6s correspond with Tiferet on the Tree of Life, Sphirith 6, and as manifest through water, this is actually pleasure, harmony, sexuality, creativity pursued, and success in creativity, sexual fulfillment, sensual fulfillment, not exclusively sexual, but this can be sensory on the level of, a healthy level of indulgence, where you get to enjoy something so thoroughly, and then guess what? It ends up actually being good for you. The experience of like eating really good food that is actually really healthy. One of those rare combinations of things. Well, this is the experience of that, something similar to that. So don't take this in specifics. Consider how this might be directly relevant to you and your life. There's a very simple dichotomy here. It's either you do what you have always done and do it better and better and better, and therefore potentially get more and more locked into that, or just do something totally different and do what you really love in this moment. This doesn't at all require you to give up everything forever, but to just step back and enjoy life a little bit, live a little bit. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. There was a similar paradigm in the previous reading for Aquarius. So many people are facing the same themes. So the work that you do on the inner realms is actually going to be a tremendous service for all of us. What you learn, what you gain, and then therefore what you demonstrate through your experience of the choices that you actually make from gaining this new understanding of your position, new understanding of what you truly want, and what it means to pursue what you truly want rather than being pressured, rather than responding to the pressure to do things that you don't want because you think that they're right. You think that they're in line with what is expected of you, or you think they're the responsible thing to do. Well, sometimes the responsible thing to do is to have fun. And there is such thing as a healthy dose of selfishness, so these are all things to consider. All of this was inspired by your past card here, the Three of Discs. Now the threes correspond with Binah on the Tree of Life, which corresponds to the left hemisphere of the brain. So this is, rationality. Of course, the right hemisphere of the brain deals with, imagination and creativity, and then the left hemisphere of the brain helps make that real. It's the actualizing mechanism. Whereas the right hemisphere of the brain is that which is an observation of potentiality, and the left hemisphere is actualization. So you've been faced with actualization as a dominant theme for maybe a little too long. And so it might be time to step back and maybe revisit some of that old Piscean energy that you would have been born with, so strong. You would be naturally tapped into the cosmic soup. Creativity should effortlessly flow through you, but if you've been, like many of us, pressured into doing something that you don't actually want to do, that doesn't allow you to exercise those gifts, life can become quite dull. Life can become quite strict and stringent and repressed and stiff and stagnant even, stagnant in motion, progressively and productively and constructively stagnant, to where you're not actually doing what you need for you. You're caught up tending to the illusion, at times needlessly exhausting your reserves for the sake of spinning your wheels upon some conveyor belt within this grand illusory mechanism. But in truth, not truly jeopardizing anything. You have the option to choose something different. So naturally, after such suggestions, one might be curious as to what it would all lead to. What would the consequence of such a choice be? Well, we can see that here in your Fate section, the Princess of Wands. So this actually corresponds with one of the 16 Myers-Briggs personality profiling system types. And of course there are 16 types. There are 16 court cards as well, and that's no coincidence. They all line up quite beautifully. And this particular card, the Princess of Wands, lines up with the INTP, or the introverted, intuitive, thinking perceiver. Somebody who loves to solve problems. Somebody who loves to challenge others to think. But somebody who also doesn't take themselves too seriously. Somebody who can be perfectly content inspiring others to do their job for them. So you can notice there's a similar color scheme here between the Emperor and the Princess of Wands, which is to say that your work will be continued. That which you are pressured to do will continue, likely at no risk to your reputation, which is to say that it's safe to play a little right now. And you'll come back from this actually with an increasing ability to inspire others to carry on your work for you. So you can actually open up more opportunities to play more in the future and therefore not lock yourself up or tie yourself down. So to occasionally step back and drop everything for the sake of seeking pleasure and enjoying your life, you're not necessarily risking everything or risking anything, despite what that little voice, the voice of our parents or the voice of societal expectations, might be whispering or at times yelling within our heads. So quite clearly there's a pretty strong positive message in all of this for you. And that about wraps all of this up. So thank you so much for listening to this and for watching this. And don't forget to check out my website, IamHelios.com, and perhaps consider signing up for one of my courses or booking a reading with me to take this so much deeper and so much further than we have here. Thank you.